Hey guys, EBlacklite here. So today we've got my craziest, most insane, awesomest creation yet. This will not be a tutorial, this will be a quick showcase. I'm hoping to keep it around 5 minutes long. What it is the Potion Customizer 2.0, and the fact that you press a button and it makes the potions. You don't have to do anything else, you press one button. So I'm going to show it off real quick, and then I'll get down to what each component of this huge redstone mess actually does. So without further ado, I have set up 9 batches, so that's going to be 27 potions of Slowness Extended Splash. I don't have all the ingredients filled up here because that's the only one I'll be making, because otherwise the video will be way too long. You can see we've got nether wart here, sugar, fermented spider eye, redstone, and sulfur. And that's all we're going to need. So let's do this. And I'm going to go ahead and speed this up right about now. Okay, and I just went F5. All right, let's begin with this front panel here. This is where we actually interact with the device. Here we have our number of batches selector. We can have 27 potions. I can't do mental math anymore, apparently. 18 potions. I swear I can multiply sometimes. And 9 potions. I was honestly like 6 times what? How many potions per brewing stand? 3. Nailed it. Yeah, that was pretty pathetic. I'm sorry. Um, then we have over here our potion types. So there's all 12 of them here. And then we have our extra things, whatever you want to call them. We can add redstone, gunpowder, or glowstone. And then let's also quickly go over this part right here. Kind of, well, I guess cutting off right here up till this point. This is actually a bunch of one wide AND gates. They're stackable. There's 2 different patterns for them, and they stack with each other. So the first half of the AND gate is this top part. And you can see that this redstone torch is unpowered, and this is our final output right here. This piece of redstone, or in this case, it's right here. But that's just, they're at different levels, so they can be right next to each other in different places. And the other half of the AND gate is down here. These redstone torches powering this block, which in this case powers this redstone, and in this case powers that redstone right there. So this half of the AND gate's controlled by whatever potion you select, and this half is controlled when you press enter, the enter button. It travels down here and triggers the other side. So the system only starts once you press the enter button, hence the enter button. This, for how incredibly complicated it probably looks, is probably the simplest to understand part of the machine. Each of these lines travels down this way and triggers certain of these lines. Each of these lines corresponds to a certain potion ingredient. So our most simple line is our health. Come down here when the AND gets triggered, travels down this line, and hits the glistering melon line. The nether wart line is always hit by the enter button itself. So, and that's for all of them. The first couple only have one ingredient because I have the base simple potions, regen, speed, strength, fire resist, night vision, water breathing. All of these only use one ingredient. But then we'll hit ones like invisibility, which uses golden carrots and what's it called? Fermented spider eye. And it comes down here, and it goes underneath here. It's probably a bad example, but pops up right underneath here, hits the caret line, and then continues onward underneath here and hits the fermented spider eye line. So that's all this whole mess is doing, and then we have this slightly separated part for just the redstone, glowstone, and gunpowder, and I'll get to why this had to be so far down here in a second in our next section of the machine. So what I'm concerned with right now, the part I'm going to be talking about, is pretty much cutting off right here, this line I'm making to here. Now all this is our track, or our minecart departure and retrieval. So when any one of these lines get triggered, let's say we're making a health potion here, this line's going to get turned off by, this torch is going to be off and that torch is going to be off and press the enter button. This line's going to turn off, therefore turning this torch on. This line will get powered, and this block will raise up. And because this minecart is half on the powered rail and half on the detector rail, and that's why actually this fence is here, we'll get to that in a sec, this minecart will start to move this direction. So that's our departure, and then for our retrieval, once it goes through the system, it's going to come back around on this track, and that detector rail also triggers this line of redstone, which flips this track here. So if there's so you see if there's a minecart in that station and we send this off, it's not going to go in it. I'm just going to destroy that because they're actually all full. But if we destroy this here and we send this off, it's actually going to go in that station. You see the track flipped. So that's how this works. It just fills the nearest empty station, and because they're always going to be empty when they come back, it doesn't matter which one they go back into. So that's all that this is doing I guess it looks decently complicated, but this fence is very important because what it does is it lands half on the detector rail, half on the powered track. So that's probably the most important part of this section. Let's move on to this. I figured this is probably a little easier to look at than all that mess. So what we have here is our amount selector. Let's put a bunch of items in here. If we have, and these lines, there's actually a series of lines. You can see them. They are right there, and right there. Those three lines are pretty much this, going underneath each one. If we have none of the lines powered, and we send the cart on its way, it's going to get one item. If we send the cart with the first powered, it's going to get 3 items. And this is probably the part that actually was the trickiest to design, just because it was a little bit of work, but and also to get 2 wide was a big thing to make it stackable more easily. I had to design those like 6 wide. I'm like, this is going to take up way too much space, so I spent like another hour designing this. If we have the first 2 checked, we're going to get 6 of them. And if we check the last one, we're going to get 9. Just like that. And that's pretty much all that this whole part right here is doing. So from here to here is just a bunch of these stacked. You can see there's one right there, one right here, and one right here. And then we have these lines powering the whole thing running underneath from our amount selector. So those come down around, and I know it's kind of messy, and go underneath here. So that's all that this part is doing right here. Alright, let's cover this area. So this area is very similar to this area, except there's only 3 stations and they're all identical. These are our water bottle stations. Now, this is just a prototype for my design, so we're going to make improvements. One of those improvements is going to be our loading system. Right here, I have to load each of these chests individually. How I have it is I can just click spam water bottles and they'll fall into that hopper and go into this chest here. But I want to have it so there's only 1 chest that I have to fill up and it evenly disperses among the 3. I'll set them up some other time, but that's really pretty simple compared to all this, so I'm not too worried. But this is literally a copy of this. This is the departure and retrieval system right here. And this is the amount selector, and we just need 3 of them because you need 3 times as many water bottles as all the ingredients. Now this line right here, the actual like departure thing, is hooked up to the enter button by this line. And all of these, this is our amount selector. They just branch, these are the 3 for the actual ingredients right here. And then they all branch off this direction to here as well. So we control the amount. Let me show you. So you can see none of these pistons are extended here or over there. Those 3, 1, 2, 3. If we press 9, all 3 of them go up here, and all 3 of them go up over there. So that's all that this is. So we're almost done. We have two more things to cover. One is the actual system for the potions, and the other one is this track system. Sorry, I'll cover the track system and the potion area in one, and then we have to go over the this giant mess of repeaters. So what happens is our ingredient line is right here. You can see these all come down, come underneath here, and the nice thing is when you roll a cart at full speed over hoppers, it only takes one out of each, so that covers our evenly distributing them. And because the items leave the hopper in the order you put them in, all we have to do is send the carts over in the order we want, and that's how we determine the order that the ingredients go into the the potion stand. So this is our line for these. It comes around, up, and goes back to the cart retrieval. And this one goes around this way, comes over this track, and then to the cart retrieval. So how this works is the ingredients go on the top, water bottles go on the side, and then the potions are retrieved out of the bottom. Now, obviously you don't want to take the potions out before they're ready, so let's go over how that part works. So to explain how the potions are retrieved, we actually need to start way over here. Now, underneath each of these detector rails, we have this line of redstone. What this does is it will be powered if any of the carts are not, unless every single cart is docked, this line will be on. So if we take one cart out, it can be any cart, this line turns on. And let me just also give you another example of this. I love this so much. Oh, what is this one doing back there? I must have bumped into it at some point. I'm gonna send that back on its way. Okay. Yeah, so easy to load those in. Anyway, so you can see, so those dots will get unpowered, torch will power, this line will power, and I just need to show that real quick so we can explain how these actually work. So that is one part of this system here. You can see this, all these are just powering the hoppers underneath the stands, and when hoppers are powered, they don't transmit items. So initially, when our items leave, when the potions are first put in here, the water bottles will be put in here after the first cart leaves, so they won't be able to drop down immediately. And then once there's ingredients in these hoppers, there's also comparators coming out of here that go to this whole mess, and also immediately down to here after like a very short delay. They go down. It goes down to this line, and what this does is it immediately stops items from going down, and then after the last item leaves this hopper, all the carts will be back at that point, so that will no longer be helping us. That's just to get through the initial part when the carts are still coming over. There could be a very long delay between two of them, in which case this system would fail. So that's why we need that as a safety. It's kind of hard to explain. It makes sense if you think about it for a little while, but I don't really know how to put it very simply. So once the last item leaves this, it will still need to brew for 20 seconds in here. So that's what this whole delay is for. It will count down 20 seconds. And at the end of the 20 seconds, this line will finally become unpowered, allowing the potions to drop down into the chest here. And that's how the whole thing works. It's a little bit to take in, but it works pretty well. I'm hoping it'll work on multiplayer. I haven't tested it yet, but it's very impressive looking at the very least. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Pixelcraft Season 4, Episode 5 will be me developing this whole thing, literally starting from scratch and developing the whole thing in creative mode. I was intending it for about 5 minutes of development, but it took me about half an hour recording really short clips at very long, very spaced apart. It still took forever because this thing was a nightmare to design. So, yeah, that's this machine, Posting Customizer 2.0. It's really not that complicated of a concept. The execution just took a little bit of time to get perfectly right. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.